Alright, found this article on my less used browser's news tab. Senators reject Bernie Sanders' effort to curb Israel Hamas war, but the vote signals rising unease. You know, the last time I heard about Bernie Sanders, he was bashing Big Pharma for price gouging or something. But then, of course, the cough came around and he just disappeared. Well, in my opinion, anyway. Alright, let's get into the article. Washington Associated Press, I think that's what AP stands for. In a notable test Tuesday, Senator Bernie Sanders forced colleagues to decide whether to investigate human rights abuses in the Israel-Hamas war, a step toward potentially limiting U.S. military aid to Israel as its devastating attacks on Gaza grind past 100 days. Senators overwhelmingly rejected the effort, a first of its kind, tapping into a decades-old law that would require the U.S. State Department to, within 30 days, produce a report on whether the Israel war effort in Gaza is violating human rights and international accords. Didn't I make a video a couple weeks ago about this UN woman who was saying that killing civilians is bad? So, how many civilians has Israel killed? Just asking. I'm sure someone has kept track, but I haven't. Anyway, continuing with the article. If the administration failed to do so, U.S. military aid to Israel, long assured without question, could be quickly halted. Not gonna happen. But the roll call vote begins to reveal the depth of unease among U.S. lawmakers over Israel's prosecution of the war against Hamas. With no apparent end to the bombardment, Israel's attacks against Palestinians, an attempt, I would say a vain attempt, to root out Hamas leaders, are viewed by some as disproportional to the initial terrorist attack on Israel. Yeah, but Hamas is a terrorist organization that's using the Palestinians as a meat shield. So there's nothing you can do about it. In all, 11 senators joined Sanders in the procedural vote, mostly Democrats from across the party spectrum, while 72 opposed. I'm pretty sure I know who 4 of them are, and this is just my opinion. Probably AOC, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, and I don't know the name of the 4th one. To my mind, Israel has absolute right to defend itself from Hamas' barbaric terrorist attack that occurred on October 7th. No question about that, Sanders told AP during an interview on Monday ahead of the vote. But what Israel does not have a right to do, using military assistance from the United States, does not have the right to go to war against the entire Palestinian population, Sanders said. Now they say Sanders is an independent from Vermont. If he's part of the Democrat Party, then he's not independent, in my opinion anyway. The White House has rejected the approach from Sanders as unworkable, as President Joe Biden's administration seeks a transition from Israel and works to ensure support at home and abroad against a stirring backlash to the scenes of destruction from Gaza. Yeah, and the reason why you have all this unrest at home and how it's stirring up conflict is because the U.S. is pro-Israel, but they let in a whole whack of Palestinians or pro-Hamas people or people who just don't like Israel in general. So, yeah, you're creating conflict. Democrat Senator Ben Cardin, the chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee, moved to table the measure, arguing it is counterproductive and would make it more difficult for the U.S. to prevent escalation of the expanding conflict. We do not believe that this resolution is the right vehicle to address these issues. We don't think now is the right time, It's unworkable, quite frankly, said a statement from the White House National Security Council's John Kirby. Kirby. The Israelis have indicated that they are preparing to transition their operation to a much lower intensity, and we believe that transition will help both in terms of reducing civilian casualties. Well, there's already been a lot of civilian casualties, and you have tens of thousands of displaced people, so now they're gonna worry about reducing civilian casualties? Okay, well, maybe they should have done that from the start? I don't know, that's just my opinion. Alright, so here's a people count. 24,000 people in Gaza, the majority of them women and children, have been killed, and the bombings have destroyed most of the housing units. So, yeah, mostly women and children. Hey UN, where you at? So yeah, if I'm reading that right, Israel has killed 24,000 people. And now they want to ramp down the civilian casualties? Okay. The Senate action comes as Biden's request for $106 billion supplemental national security aid for Israel. Wow, nice. As well as Ukraine and other military needs. Is at a standstill. Good. Republicans in Congress are insisting on attaching vast policy changes to stop the flow of migration at the US-Mexico border. So Biden wants the money, but the Republicans are saying, hey look, if you want this money, you gotta cut the illegal immigration at the US-Mexico border. Yay, politics at work. But is that worth it? Didn't they used to say that they couldn't find like $20 billion for Trump to build a wall? And yet now they want 106 billion? Is it just me, or is that kind of funny? Of the supplemental aid package, more than 14 billion would go to Israel. Huh. Including 10 billion in US military assistance as it retaliates against Hamas for the October 7 surprise attack, which was among the most deadly assaults ever. Now, I'm still scratching my head at how none of the intelligence agencies saw that coming. It makes no sense to me, but that's just my opinion. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap this up because this video is getting a little long. The main reason I made this video, like I said in the beginning, Bernie Sanders was all over the place before the cough, bashing Big Pharma, in my opinion anyway. And then the cough came around and he just disappeared. I thought it was weird. Anyway, take care out there in Clown World.